Hello, and welcome back to the studio. I'm Dr. Wigo, and this week we will be unboxing and setting up and trying out the Track E timecode audio recorder. Now, if you're only interested in seeing the Track E, well then skip to the next chapter, because if you've been here before, you know I'm going to tell a story first. For a couple of weeks, I was shooting downstairs with my new lights. See that video, I'll link that below. And it was going all right, except when I went back and edited it, I didn't care for the audio. I've gotten too used to this Rode NTG3 up here, which sounds fantastic. Well, it's my voice. It sounds as good as it can with what it has to work with. I didn't like the audio. Now, by the way, the audio you heard in those videos that were shot down in the living room, the audio in those videos was the Hollyland, which you can see down here. They're good, but they're not perfect. In fact, to use them, you have to set the gain on the camera to 1. I hope you all know that the weakest link in your audio chain is, in fact, the cameras. The cameras are made to be cameras, and yes, they do audio, but they don't do the best audio, and they can be finicky. So that's why you go with external devices like the Zoom H6, which I have sitting over here, which is recording off of the NTG3, and now the Track E. Why did I get this? Bennett. You know why. Mark Bennett. Mark Bennett's camera. By the way, he's had this for like a year and didn't do a video about it, but he did one recently, and I saw it and I went, maybe that'll solve my problem of the audio I don't care for. I bought one. It was like $350, so it's not cheap, but when you see what it does, you might think, well, maybe that's worth it. Why don't we just get to the unboxing part so everyone can join in as I describe what this thing will do. But that's why I bought it. Now let's see if it'll work out for what I want it to do. I got it from B&H Photo. Amazon didn't have it in stock. Now with B&H, they give you a little bundle. It's this little bag. Well, let's open that first. It's a Tentacle Sync tote bag. So it's not really for carrying it around. It's just so you'll have a Tentacle Sync tote bag. I guess it's a bonus, but this is what we care about. And again, I like the environmentally friendly packaging. Everything you need to know is printed on this packaging here. There's a little thank you card. Happy? Absolutely. Tell a friend. Happy? If you have questions, contact us. Very cute. I like that. 2-year warranty, and there's a mobile app, which we will get to momentarily. But as I said, you can see pretty much everything you need to know right here. There's a microphone in jack there. There's a headphone out jack there. Now the headphone out jack, apparently there's some patent troll in the United States who has a patent on monitoring audio while you're recording. So in the US, you cannot monitor your audio through the headphone jack while you're recording. You can play it back later, but not while you're recording. I know. Welcome to America. It has a micro SD card, which is where it does its recording. And there's basically one button that is for power on and off and stop start. And then there's a USB-C port, which you can use for charging, and or you can use this as a card reader. It's a micro SD card, and they're a little tiny and easy to lose. So you don't have to even take it out. You can just take this down and plug it into your computer. Oh, and the benefit is while you're copying the files off, it's charging. So this is the unit. I mean, there's just not a lot to it. But wait, there's more. The packaging is getting less environmentally friendly as we go deeper. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff in this box, in the little box inside the box. We have a little carrying case, a little vinyl, but reinforced, as you can see, with the honeycomb. So it's it's less likely to tear, not impossible. And you get a little teeny tiny one, which basically I guess will just hold that. This is if you want to take all the stuff with you. What is all this stuff? Well, here's your very short USB-C to USB-A cable. If you're like me, I have one of these kind of cords dangling out of my computer. I won't have to use this one, but always good to have another one. Now the slightly longer USB-C to USB-C cable, a little manual, not really much of a manual at all. It's a lot of fine print. Basically, the manual and the app and everything are on this little card. You QR scan, some Tentacle Sync stickers, color bands, so you can change the color of the unit. Tentacle they started out making sync devices that you could hook to your cameras, and they would record sync codes into your different, say I use multiple cameras. So it would put the sync codes into these cameras, you jam sync them, and then they're all synced. And then when you get into your editing software, you can, actually I think first you have to take it through their own software. Since cameras don't really have a way to do it, they put it on one of the audio tracks, and then their software will then put it into the metadata so that when you get it into your video editor, it'll have the time code in the metadata. And it's a wonderful thing. But then they came out with this little microphone recording thing that also works as a sync. So you can get your cameras and this all to sync together so that when you go to edit. Now, I use DaVinci Resolve, and the DaVinci Resolve sync by waveform has worked just fine for me the whole time I've been using it. So I'm just going to stick with this for now. You never know what's going to happen in the future. And then finally, it also includes a lavalier mic with a little furry windscreen. It has a little pop filter and a little clip because I'm going to put this on. First, I should download the app. Getting started with the Tracky. Get the setup app for Apple. That was quick download. Let it use Bluetooth. Okay. To turn it on, you pull it down, and it's on. So let's add device. Oh, it named it Daniela. I guess it just generates a name for each one, so they'll be unique, but Daniela. I'm not going to be using the timecode function, but I am going to be plugging this in, screwing that on. I'll need my little, so I will put the little, oh wait, no, first I'll have to put the little, there we go, got the clip, put the little tiny pop filter thing on it for my plosives. And I will clip that right here above. And now I can start recording by pressing this button there, or I could do it here. See, recording. So later on, I will discover if this is working, because I'll just drop this down into my pocket. So it's recording away. Oh, wait. I'm going to stop. Long press. Recording settings. This is what I want. Because the default is 48 kilohertz 24-bit, which is the same that the cameras use. But the reason you get this, oh, there we go. Oh, and on here I can see it has 89% battery. Okay, now I can, it was recording. That's why I couldn't do anything. So we will call this one Dr. Wigo. But this is the button I wanted to press, was the 48 kilohertz 32-bit float, because this is the magic of this device. While it will record in either, as you can see on the screen here, the regular, like I said, the camera, you know, the 48 kilohertz 24-bit, but it also does the 48 kilohertz 32-bit float. There's a million videos on YouTube about 32-bit float. Basically, you can't clip because it's recording such a wide dynamic range, because 24-bit to 32-bit, you say, well, that doesn't seem like that much more. Yeah, except remember, every bit you add like doubles. Okay, well, let's go back. Okay, now that I've got it in float, LED while recording. Okay, go back. And it's recording. Oh, it doesn't need a long press to start recording. It only needs a long press to stop recording. So right now, you should be listening to this 32-bit float audio that I'm recording. And to give you a comparison, this is the 24-bit audio off the A7 IV. This is the 24-bit audio off of the FX30. Now you're listening to the audio off of these other, the Larks, the Hollyland Larks. Hey, for good measure, I'll throw in the built-in mic on the ZV-E10. And of course, don't forget the NTG3, which also 24-bit, which is being recorded to my Zoom H6. And now back to this. Tentacle, zoom, NTG zoom. Tentacle, NTG zoom. Tentacle, NTG zoom. This is my real comparison. I know what these sound like. In fact, that's why I was unhappy with the audio from the videos I shot downstairs, because I didn't like the way it sounded. Let's see. The thing about the 32-bit float is that you don't have to worry about your levels, because you're constantly checking your levels. I'm like, I have my zoom right here where I can see the levels. So I can see, am I peaking? Yeah, that's pretty good. But now watch this. If I scream, well, that just peaked over there, but I can pull that back over here. So here, if I scream, this is what it sounded like screaming into there, dialed back so it won't blow your eardrums out. This is what it sounded like if I scream. See? That's how easy it is. I mean, I took it out of the box, I downloaded the app, I used the app to do a little bit of setup, and I'm off and running. I mentioned the software. They have, well, it's really their time code software. So if you're just getting this for the microphone like I am, you don't need their software. You don't need Tentacle software. So I'm going to go down, check things out. I'll be back.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
And I'm back. I learned something important. When you go to plug this in to computer to copy the files off, you can take the little, there's a little 16 gig micro card, but micro cards, I don't have a micro card reader attached to my computer. You can just plug this in and it'll charge while, but it has to be off. So you have to turn this off so there's no lights on it. When you plug it in, it will appear as a card reader and you can copy the files off, and it will charge while it's plugged in. And I fooled around a little bit in DaVinci Resolve, and yes, I was able to dial back that, but, and this is important, this won't peak. The recorder won't peak. You'll be able to pull back from almost any volume, but you can overload the little microphone. So I think I screamed loud enough, because even dialing this back, you can hear a little click. The NTG3, it like clipped. So far, looking pretty good. Plus, it has the added advantage. You know, one of the things everybody always carries on about is you want dual card slots in your cameras, so that if something happens to the card. Well, I'm doing all my recording up here with the NTG3. Well, what if that goes? Well, I do have all my cameras are also recording audio, but I want the good audio. But now I can also always use this in addition to this. And so I will have two devices that would both have to fail. And again, with the 32-bit float, if I screw up and get my levels wrong on the NTG3, I can cut to this. So I'm pretty happy with it. One of the reasons this is so expensive, well, there's several reasons. First, it's a sync device and a recorder. Plus, they include a card. Oh, that's a cheap card. Plus, they include a lavalier. And it's a decent lavalier. It's not like the cheapest one they could find. It's like, it's a good lavalier. So that's why this costs like $350. I'm thinking, especially for when I'm recording out of the studio and don't have my NTG3 to back me up, I'll have this. So I'm very happy with this purchase. I don't want to recommend it just yet because I've only listened to one thing that I recorded, but it's looking good so far. Oh, and by the way, when I pulled it into DaVinci Resolve, it came in like with the levels looked almost exactly like the levels from the Zoom H6. I mean, the sound waves looked almost identical. That is the Track E audio recorder. It seems like a good little thing. I mean, okay, it's plastic, but I mean, it's just going to be either in my pocket. I'm not going to use a belt clip, but it'll be in my pocket. In fact, let me put it back in my pocket right now. That way, by the way, when I go downstairs, it'll be in my pocket, and so I'll have it to copy the audio off, because I have a horrible tendency to leave things up here or leave things downstairs when running up and down. And I don't know if I've mentioned this. I'm an old man. We're done. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. Bye-bye.